The most powerful witch hunters now were coming from Twitter, the Ivy League, and the progressive left. JK Rowling used to be a villain to the right because she wrote books about witchcraft. Now she's a villain to the left because she has the crazy belief that there's more to being a woman than pronouns and lipstick.
Emma is rightly free to disagree with me and indeed to discuss her feelings about me in public. But I have the same right, and I've finally decided to exercise it. I mean, mic drop, Stuber Gear. She could not have said this more perfectly, better, more powerfully, or more in a more damaging way for Emma Watson. She deserved every bit of scorn.
Thus, JK Rowling has finally retaliated after years of threats and betrayal from the very celebrities she made household names. It was also cruel. Emma Watson was just set on fire by the Harry Potter mastermind for joining the woke movement, bashing her, and attempting to discredit her due to her transgender beliefs. Although everyone is aware that Rowling's pen is more brutal than a sword, nobody anticipated this level of razor-edged wit and scathing sarcasm. So fasten your seatbelts, because this takedown will go down in history.
She says, I want to make a couple of points. I'm not owed eternal agreement from any actor who once played a character I created. Emma Watson and her co-stars have every right to embrace gender identity ideology. However, Emma and Dan in particular have both made it clear over the last few years that they think our former professional association gives them a particular right, nay, obligation, to critique me and my views in public. Years after they finished acting in Potter, they continue to assume the role of de facto spokespeople for the world I created. When you've known people since they were 10 years old, it's hard to shake a certain protectiveness. For the past few years, I've repeatedly declined invitations from journalists to comment on Emma specifically. Ironically, I told producers I didn't want her to be hounded as the result of anything I said.
JK Rowling started out by coolly acknowledging that, yes, she has witnessed every insult and conceited remark Emma Watson and her fellow Potter graduates have made to her, and we'll get into that in a moment. Here's the twist, though. She opted for quiet rather than weakness. Rowling clarified that she had known these performers when they were just 10 years old. She had a strong, almost maternal affection for them as a result. She held back from causing the kind of devastation she could have with ease out of respect for that. However, that love was never reciprocated. Rather, they took the side of the mob. The woke script is that. Launch an attack first. Never think. And set everything on fire. Let's roll the clip now.
She speaks of that clip that we just watched. The television presenter in the attached clip highlights Emma's all witches speech, and in truth, that was a turning point for me. But it had a postscript that hurt far more than the speech itself. This is the one in which Emma attacked JK in 2022. Emma asked someone to pass on a handwritten note from her to me, which contained the single sentence, "I'm so sorry for what you're going through. She has my phone number." This was back when the death, rape, and torture threats against me were at their peak, and I was constantly worried for my family's safety.
Ultimately, Emma made an effort to retract her remarks and apologized in private for her harsh and contemptuous remarks about JK Rowling, particularly for leaving her when the woke crowd descended. Emma most likely knew in her heart that Rowling was stating harsh realities, but she was too proud to publicly acknowledge that. Rather, she tried to patch things up without damaging her reputation by slipping an apology through a third party. However, let's face it, that is what cowardice is. She need to have the guts to come forward and issue a public apology if she has the audacity to publicly criticize Rowling, the lady who made her famous. Less is insufficient.
Had just publicly poured more petrol on the flames, yet thought a one-line expression of concern from her would reassure me of her fundamental sympathy and kindness. Like other people who have never experienced adult life uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma has so little experience of real life, she's ignorant of how ignorant she is. need a homeless shelter. She's never going to be placed on a mixed-sex public hospital ward. I'd be astounded if she's been in a high street changing room since childhood. Her public bathroom is single occupancy and comes with a security man standing guard outside the door. Has she had to strip off in a newly mixed-sex changing room at a council-run swimming pool? Is she ever likely to need a state-run rape crisis center that refuses to guarantee an all-female service?
Contrast that with left-leaning politicians who are always attempting to project the ideal image, who never stop caving in, and who polish every statement until it sounds false. Even if Trump is unpredictable, you can be sure that he believes what he says. That has political clout. Here's the delicious irony, though. These days, the left is yelling about free speech. Do you recall the time when they were advocating for censorship? When did they request that stories they didn't like be filtered on social media? When they were firing journalists, comedians, and even regular people for having the audacity to speak out problematic. Yeah, those days weren't so long time ago. However, they're suddenly rediscovering their love for free speech now that they don't control the narrative. It's funny how that operates.
To find herself sharing a prison cell with a male rapist who's identified into the women's prison. I wasn't a multimillionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. I therefore understand from my own life experience what the trashing of women's rights in which Emma has so enthusiastically participated means to women and girls without her privileges.
Let's return to the Democrats now. Ma is correct when he claims that they are a ghost brand. Although the celebration appears vibrant on the outside, it is empty and lifeless within. No compelling message, no obvious leader, and no policies that break the clutter, just cliched catchphrases and rehashed talking points.
Ones and whatever other stupid shit they use in Harry Potter and
The greatest irony here is that had Emma not decided in her most recent interview to declare that she loves and treasures me, a change of tack I suspect she's adopted because she's noticed full-throated condemnation of me is no longer quite as fashionable as it was, I might never have been this honest. Adults can't expect to cozy up to an activist movement that regularly calls for a friend's assassination, then assert their right to the former friend's love.
How about their supposed stars? For instance, an OC. She does indeed control social media. She is well liked among Generation Z. However, let's face it, national elections are not won by popularity on TikTok. Voter turnout is not correlated with loud voices. You must establish a connection with the country's center. The far left lacks programs that appeal to regular Americans, which is what you need. Ma admits it. Perhaps a far left candidate would be elected if 80% of Gen Z voters suddenly cast ballots that like AOC could have a shot. But is that doable? Not even close. It's not a wise choice. It's not a successful tactic. This is where Ma once again becomes brutally honest. Democrats must distance themselves from the fringe if they hope to win.
Emma is rightly free to disagree with me and indeed to discuss her feelings about me in public. But I have the same right, and I've finally decided to exercise it. I mean, mic drop, Stuber gear. She could not have said this more perfectly, better, more powerfully, or more in a more damaging way for Emma Watson. She deserved every bit of scorn.
Even though Ma acknowledges that he likes Gavin Newsom and even says he would love him as a candidate, he still has to acknowledge that Newsom's record in California is baggage. This is one instance where Ma does display his bias, high taxation, homelessness, and companies relocating out of the state. Running for president is challenging when your state appears to be a cautionary tale. Furthermore, why should the rest of America accept Noam as the savior of the Democratic Party if Mar himself cannot?
Powerful witch hunters now were coming from Twitter, the Ivy League, and the progressive left. JK Rowling used to be a villain to the right because she wrote books about witchcraft. Now she's a villain to the left because she has the crazy belief that there's more to being a woman than pronouns and lipstick.
This is where we end up. Bill Maher just gave the Democrats a harsh wake-up call. They are confined to their bubble. Relevance is evaporating from them. Far-left rhetoric that fails to win elections weighs them down. And they will be extinct until they get over their current situation, re-establish a connection with regular Americans, and truly concentrate on winning rather than whining. What do you think, then? Can the Democrats save themselves? Or is Ma correct in claiming that they are a dormant brand headed towards oblivion? And here's the bigger question. Could someone like AOC or any did the far-left candidate win the presidency? Or is that merely a wishful thinking? Post your opinions in the comments section. If you liked this analysis, please hit the like button and make sure to subscribe, as we have a ton more in store for you.
My favorite line, I wasn't a multimillionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. Oh my God. It's so effective. Yeah. It's so good. F this woman and her betrayal of JK Rowling. When JK Rowling needed a friend, when she could have used just silence. If Emma Watson disagreed so mightily, and by the way, I don't believe she did. I believe she went along with the woke mob, just like all these actors do. There's no way she actually believes a man can become a woman. It's scientifically proven he cannot.
This is where we end up. Bill Maher just gave the Democrats a harsh wake-up call. They are confined to their bubble. Relevance is evaporating from them. Far-left rhetoric that fails to win elections weighs them down. And they will be extinct until they get over their current situation, re-establish a connection with regular Americans, and truly concentrate on winning rather than whining. What do you think, then? Can the Democrats save themselves? Or is Ma correct in claiming that they are a dormant brand headed towards oblivion? And here's the bigger question. Could someone like AOC or any did the far-left candidate win the presidency? Or is that merely a wishful thinking? Post your opinions in the comments section. If you liked this analysis, please hit the like button and make sure to subscribe, as we have a ton more in store for you.